Hello class, welcome back to section 4 on the R and R training for data analysis. Here we are come to learn how we can store vectors in R, how we can store numeric vectors and assign it by a variable using the C function, right? So here we have this vector, right? This is what 7 by 1 vector, right? And then we want to save this one in R. We want to save this one in R. If you want to save the 7 by 1 vector in R, you just use the C function and then write the elements in the 7 by 1 7 by 1 vector and then separate it by our comments. And then we are going to store it by this name x, variable name x. Right, so once you run this one, I will keep it in memory and you use the x to call it, right? Once you print it, you see it as name the 7 by 1 matrix. Now is here, right? And for the y, we have y is equal to c. It's bracket of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are the elements about the 7 by 1 matrices. And so 7 by 1 vector. So you just write them in the C function, separating it by a comma and represent it by a y, right? So once you have that one, once you run it, it will also give you your y component, right? And then at the end of the day, we have m. Right, the m is equal to what the summation of what the x and the y. So we are just summing represent the summation of x and y by what m. So once you run it, we have this one, right? And then we have p, right? So we are saying that p is equal to s star what y, right? So we are just want to use the p to represent what the multiplication, right, of x and y. So once you run it, the multiplication of x and y to what is surely going to come. And then sometimes too, you would like to create what character what vector and then assign the character vector by a variable using what the C function. So here we have this we have m, which is used to represent what the character vector p, y, and the u. Once you run it to, you're surely going to get your results nicely, right? And then I don't know, you see you would like to, let's say, join two vectors together, two separate vectors together. You can join two separate vectors together using what the C function. So here we have what our x, as you can see here, and here we have what our m, as you can see here. So x and m. You really want to join the x and m, you use what we call the C function to join them, right? So once you run it and then execute the y, you see nicely it has joined what the x component, right, and what the m what component, as you can see here, right? And then sometimes you would like to create what random numbers in R. You can only create random numbers in R using what the run if what function. So for the run if function, you can create numbers, random numbers in R with what a given what number as the endpoint. So here you want it to execute numbers from what 0 to 100, 0 to what 200, right? So if I want it to be in, let's say 50, right, from 0 to 50, it's surely going to give us the number from 0, right? It's surely going to give us our number starting from 0, right? So once you run this one, right, once you run with this key, you run, right? So I don't know, you see I have gotten this one there's decimal numbers, right, about 50 different decimal numbers. Let's run it and it has given us what the output. But here let's use our 200, right, 200, so that we can do our distance, we can do our subtractions, right? So once you run it, so it's going to give you 200 what decimals, right? And here you want to get a specific number in a random what number what generated, right? So for instance, we want to get the 9th number, right? So once you give the variable name, put it into square bracket with that particular number you want, I will give it to you, right? So here k is our variable name, as you can see here, and the 9, we are going to count all these numbers, the 9th what value, right? So once I count it, you're surely going to get your results. Once you execute this, I'm going to get 910656. So once you come here and then count, just count this one. Right? Once you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You see the 9 there, 0.961065. As you can see down, the same thing, right? So I is going to count and give you your 9. If you want the 2000 value, the 200 value, once you run, I will show you going to get. If you want the 300 value, 300 value will show you NA. Since it is not up to what 300, it is surely going to give you an error. And then sometimes you want to pick numbers some vectors within a certain range. So here we are starting, the first one is for the row, the second one is for the column. So we are starting from what, the fifth element, what, the 67th one element, right? So once you run this one, you are surely going to get your result, right? You have pick the numbers from 5 to 67th one, that, right? And then at the end of the day, we will like to have access to a specific subset of numbers, right? So let's say you want to get the third, the fifth, and the sixth one decimals, right? So once you put this one into the C function, and then just type the variable, it's going to remove that one. So we want the third, the fifth, and the sixth, right? We're just going to give that one for you. Only the third, the fifth one, and the sixth. Once you have it, that it has given nicely, right? So I don't believe this is how you can store vectors, right? And then generate random variables, right? So generate random numbers in R. And after generating the random numbers in R, you can also remove or select a specific number in that, right? So thank you for watching. This is Statistics and Mathematics Twitter channel. Kindly share, like, and then subscribe so that this video will go viral, so that people will benefit and then get relief from suffering. Thank you for joining.